Have you ever reached a point in life where everything you thought you knew about connection and time shifts? When you're 70, the world looks different. The way you view relationships, energy, and even your sense of peace changes. You start to realize that it's not about how often you visit or the rush of keeping up with social expectations. It's about honoring the moments that bring you joy, making thoughtful choices, and embracing a quieter, more intentional way of living. In this video, I'm going to share why I don't visit around anymore and how embracing this change has brought me a deeper sense of fulfillment. Stick around until the end because I'll be revealing how these lessons could transform how you approach your own life, whether you're in your 70s or just beginning to realize the beauty of slowing down. Before we begin, I would appreciate it if you like this video, you can help me continue to spread the old age lesson. If you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. If you like this video, please comment number 1. If you don't like it, comment number 0 to let me know, so I can make a better video for you. Now let's get started. 1. A slower rhythm feels right. As the years have passed, I've come to realize that life is not some race to be won but rather a journey to be savored and embraced, moment by moment. At 70, the pace of my days has naturally slowed, and I've learned to appreciate a deeper, quieter kind of living. The youthful days of rushing around, when time seemed limitless and energy boundless, have gradually given way to something gentler, something more thoughtful. The constant hum of busyness has softened into a more deliberate, intentional rhythm. I no longer wake up with a long to-do list, anxiously thinking of places to go, people to see, or tasks to complete. Instead, my mornings begin slowly. I sit with my cup of coffee in hand, allowing the warmth to seep through my fingers as I watch the sunlight gently filter through the branches of the trees outside my window. There's something almost sacred in the stillness of that moment, something I never noticed before in the haste of earlier years. The quiet beauty of the world as the day begins has become a source of quiet joy, a joy I didn't know I was missing. In these calm moments, I've come to understand that slowing down isn't just a byproduct of aging. It's a gift in and of itself. It's a space for reflection, a time to appreciate what matters. Visiting others, something I once did frequently and without thought, now feels different, almost out of sync with the peaceful cadence I've come to cherish. It's not that I don't enjoy the company of family and friends. I do, and deeply. But the effort, the preparation, and the energy required to maintain a busy social schedule now feel at odds with the pace I've embraced. Life at this stage isn't about filling every minute with activity or cramming as much as I can into each day. It's about savoring the time I have, finding meaning in the quieter moments, and letting those moments, however small, carry weight. In my younger years, I felt an almost compulsive obligation to show up. I wanted to be there for every birthday dinner and every casual coffee gathering, to be seen, to connect, and to feel a part of something bigger than myself. I didn't want to miss out, believing that presence was the key to staying connected. But now, I've come to realize that the connections I value most don't always require my physical presence. A heartfelt phone call, a thoughtful letter, or even a simple text message often carries as much weight, sometimes even more, than a long visit. These quieter, simpler ways of staying in touch allow me to maintain deep, meaningful connections with the people I love while still respecting the peaceful rhythm of my days. I've also found that there's a unique peace in no longer rushing from one place to another. The stillness, the space to simply be, has become something I treasure deeply. Life's most precious moments are not always the ones filled with activity. They're often the fleeting, unnoticed moments. The way the light changes as the day progresses, the soft rustling of the wind in the trees, the comforting hum of the familiar surroundings that make up my everyday world. These are the moments that would pass me by if I were constantly moving, constantly doing. I've learned that the act of visiting others, while it can be joyful, can sometimes feel like stepping into a busier, more demanding world. A world where schedules must be aligned, conversations are quick and full of energy, and the space for simply being, without rushing, is hard to find. At 70, I've decided I no longer need to keep up with that pace. I choose instead to remain in the steadiness of my rhythm, where the flow of life is gentle and uninterrupted. There's a wisdom that comes with age, a deeper understanding that not every invitation must be accepted, and that not every moment needs to be filled with activity. In the past, I carried the weight of guilt when I declined an invitation, believing I was being inconsiderate or unkind. But I've come to understand that honoring my limits is not a sign of disengagement. It's a conscious decision to shape a life that feels authentic to me. I'm not withdrawing from the world. I'm simply choosing to engage with it on my terms, in ways that nurture my soul. Sometimes, when I reflect on the years gone by, I realize how much of my life was spent chasing time, always rushing to the next thing, always feeling like there wasn't enough of it. I'd move from one task to the next, believing that I needed to do more, be more. But now, I've learned to let go of that urgency. I treasure the present, the simple act of being here, right now. By embracing a slower rhythm, I've discovered something profound. Time expands when we slow down. There's no rush, no urgency, no need to be anywhere but in the moment. The decision to slow down and visit less is not about isolation, not at all. It's about presence. It's about being fully here, fully alive in the spaces I've created for myself, finding joy in the stillness and in the relationships that endure, even from a distance. At 70, I've learned that the richest joys in life don't come from constant doing. They come from simply being present, being mindful, being at peace with the rhythms of life. And that, to me, feels exactly right. If you are still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, please comment number 1 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Thank you for your valuable time. 2. Energy is precious. As the years go by, there's an undeniable truth that becomes clearer with each passing day. Energy is a finite resource. It's something that, in my younger years, I took for granted. Back then, I could fill a day to the brim with errands, social visits, spontaneous get-togethers, and late-night conversations. And when the day finally ended, I could still wake up the next morning, ready to do it all over again, without a second thought. But now, at 70, things have changed. My energy has become a precious commodity, and every decision I make about how to spend it feels more intentional and more mindful. The days of mindlessly rushing through life are behind me. Now, when I wake up in the morning, I no longer feel the need to jump straight into a packed schedule. Instead, I take a moment to listen to my body and gauge how I'm truly feeling. There are mornings when I wake up full of energy, feeling strong and eager to take a walk outside or engage in a long, heartwarming phone call with a friend I haven't spoken to in a while. On those days, I feel like I can do anything. But there are also days, and I've come to accept this, when even the idea of leaving the house feels overwhelming. On those days, I choose to honor my limits rather than push against them. I no longer feel the need to fight against my body's signals. I've learned that it's okay to rest when I need it. There's no shame in slowing down, and in fact, I've realized that listening to my body and giving it the space to recharge is one of the greatest gifts I can give myself. Visiting someone, for instance, used to feel like a simple act. But now, I realize it requires much more than just the physical energy to travel from one place to another. There's the mental and emotional energy it takes to truly be present with someone, to engage fully, to listen deeply, to give of myself in a way that makes the connection meaningful. These are the things I deeply value, but they demand more of me now. I've come to recognize that if I don't have the energy to do that, it's better to stay home than to show up feeling exhausted or unable to enjoy the moment fully. I want to give the best of myself to the people and experiences that truly matter. I've also become more selective about how I spend my energy. Every choice feels weightier and more significant. This is not about being selfish or shutting people out. It's about acknowledging that my time and energy are precious and limited, and I want to use them in the ways that will bring me the most fulfillment and joy. I no longer feel the need to scatter my attention across endless commitments or shallow interactions. Instead, I focus on what truly nourishes my spirit and supports my well-being. That might mean taking the time for a heartfelt phone call with a grandchild, listening intently as they share their day, or spending an afternoon lost in the pages of a good book, completely absorbed in the story. These are the moments that fill me up, that replenish my energy rather than drain it. There is something profoundly beautiful in this kind of mindfulness. By being intentional with how I spend my energy, I've discovered a deeper sense of peace and contentment. I no longer feel the pressure to be everything to everyone. Instead, I focus on being fully present in the moments and relationships that matter most, and in doing so, I've learned that this is the best use of my energy, one that nurtures both my body and my soul. 3. Modern social expectations feel different. The way people socialize today is vastly different from how it used to be, and I find myself reflecting often on those simpler times when socializing felt more effortless. In the past, there was an unspoken understanding of what it meant to visit someone. You didn't need an invitation or a formal arrangement. You just showed up at their door, maybe with a plate of freshly baked cookies or a warm, genuine smile, and they would welcome you in with open arms. The emphasis wasn't on appearances or formalities. It was about the genuine human connection that took place when people spent time together. It was spontaneous, natural, and heartfelt. The joy was in the visit itself, not in preparing for it. Today, however, everything feels more structured and premeditated. The concept of visiting has become almost ritualistic. It's no longer spontaneous. It's planned, scheduled, and sometimes even rehearsed. There's a prevailing expectation to create a picture-perfect experience. A pristine, organized home, a meticulously prepared meal, and of course, the right clothes. These pressures, while they may seem insignificant to some, feel overwhelming to me. They distract from the true essence of the visit, which is simply being present with the people I care about. I don't want to feel like I have to perform or measure up to some societal standard when I spend time with others. What matters most to me is being comfortable, authentic, and at ease in their company. I long for a connection that feels natural and unforced, where I can just be myself without the weight of expectations looming over the interaction. Social gatherings, too, have transformed. Conversations often feel rushed, superficial, and hurried, as if everyone is trying to squeeze their stories and experiences into a limited window of time. The deeper, more meaningful exchanges that I used to cherish seem to be a rarity. People are often preoccupied with checking their phones, glancing at the clock, or anxiously looking for an exit, and as a result, there's little space for the intimate, thoughtful dialogue that nourishes the soul. It's no one's fault. It's just a reflection of the fast-paced, distracted world we now live in. But it still makes me nostalgic for the past, when time seemed to slow down and interactions felt more genuine. There was a sense of savoring each moment, and conversations were allowed to unfold organically. On top of that, I've realized that many homes today aren't as accessible or comfortable for people like me. Stairs that are difficult to navigate, chairs that are too low to sit in comfortably, and loud, crowded environments can make what should be an enjoyable visit feel stressful and exhausting. I often find myself worrying about the little things. Whether I'll be able to hear others over the noise, whether I'll be physically comfortable in the space, or whether I'll feel out of place. These concerns can sometimes overshadow the joy of spending time together, and I can't help but miss the simpler visits of the past when these issues weren't as prominent. But this doesn't mean I don't value connection. Quite the opposite. I still long for meaningful relationships and cherish the people who matter most to me. However, VE found new ways to stay connected that align more with my current life stage and needs. Writing a heartfelt handwritten letter, making a thoughtful phone call, or even connecting through a video chat has become a more comfortable and fulfilling way for me to maintain relationships. These quieter, more intimate forms of communication allow me to foster closeness without the pressure of modern social expectations. In a world that is constantly in motion, I find peace in slowing down and embracing more personal, meaningful connections that feel authentic. The world may have changed, but I've learned to navigate these changes in a way that preserves my sense of peace and authenticity. I've let go of the need to conform to societal expectations and instead focus on what truly matters. Building relationships that are grounded in love, care, and genuine connection. It's not about how we socialize or the form our interactions take. What matters is the depth of the bond and the sincerity of the love we share. And to me, that's what truly makes any connection meaningful. If you are still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, please comment number 2 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Thank you for your valuable time. 4. The comfort of my own space. As the years have passed, the meaning of home has evolved for me. In my earlier years, the home was simply the place where I lived, a roof over my head, a space to eat, sleep, and occasionally entertain. But in these later years of life, home has taken on a much deeper significance. It's no longer just about the 4 walls and the roof. It's where I find a sense of peace, solace, and a comforting familiarity that I can't find anywhere else. Home has become my refuge, a sanctuary where I am truly at ease, and no other place, no matter how welcoming or beautifully designed, can offer the same feeling of comfort and belonging. My home has become a true reflection of who I am, shaped by the experiences and memories of my life. Each room, each corner, holds a story. Whether it's the photograph on the mantelpiece, the well-worn armchair I sit in every evening, or the little knickknacks scattered around that bring back memories of loved ones and past adventures. It's a place where the objects aren't just things. They are tangible reminders of the journey I've taken. The simple act of sitting in my favorite chair by the window, where the soft afternoon light filters through the curtains, offers me a deep sense of peace and grounding. It's not just a chair, it's where I pause, reflect, and reconnect with myself. I can't put into words the profound sense of comfort that comes from being in this space that truly holds me. There are the familiar scents of my kitchen, perhaps the comforting aroma of freshly brewed coffee or the warm, earthy smell of dinner simmering on the stove. The floorboards creak underfoot in the same familiar way they always have, a sound I never noticed much before but now find oddly reassuring. The sun, which pours through the windows in the late afternoon, warms the room in such a gentle way that it feels almost like a quiet embrace. These small, ordinary things, the smell of food cooking, the feel of the light on my skin, the sounds of the house settling, have become rituals that bring me a deep sense of belonging. In these moments, I realize that there is a subtle but undeniable comfort in the routine and the familiarity of my space. Living here, I don't have to make any adjustments or force myself to fit into someone else's rhythm. This home fits me perfectly, just as it is. The idea of leaving this sanctuary to visit someone else's home, though I love them dearly, has become more daunting as I get older. Their space might be lovely and inviting, but it's not mine. It's unfamiliar, and I can't help but wonder, will their chairs be as comfortable as mine? Will their floors creak in the same reassuring way? What if I have to navigate stairs or awkward spaces that don't quite suit me? These small but persistent concerns now weigh on my mind more than they used to, and I sometimes find myself hesitating before stepping out of my familiar comfort zone. Even though I want to connect with others, the ease of my own space often calls to me more strongly than the prospect of visiting someone else's. It's not that I don't care about others or that I don't enjoy their company. Rather, it's that my home has become my retreat, a place where I can truly unwind and be myself without the need to adjust to anyone else's expectations. The world outside feels increasingly chaotic and unpredictable, and the noise of everyday life can often feel overwhelming. But within these four walls, there is a deep sense of tranquility and safety that I treasure more than ever. It's a quiet contentment that's difficult to articulate but easy to feel when I'm here. My home is where I find my center, and I've come to realize that it's okay to honor that. It is, after all, where I am most at peace and where I am happiest. 5. Physical challenges. As much as I try to ignore it, the reality is that my body doesn't move with the same ease it once did. It's a feeling that creeps in slowly, almost imperceptibly at first, but it becomes undeniable over time. I feel it in my knees, especially when climbing stairs, which have become a little more daunting than they used to be. There's also a subtle ache in my back when I sit for too long, and the exhaustion I feel now, after what would once have been a routine activity, seems to linger longer than it ever did before. At first, these changes were so small that I barely noticed them, but now, they have woven themselves into the fabric of my daily life. Simple things that once seemed effortless, now require careful consideration. I find myself pausing before doing what I once took for granted, like visiting friends or traveling across town. It's no longer a given that I can just jump in the car and go. Now, every outing feels like it comes with a checklist of things to consider. Do I have enough energy for this? Will I be able to sit for long periods without discomfort? Is this the kind of place where I can easily navigate without feeling pain or strain? These aren't just small, fleeting thoughts. They are real, tangible barriers that shape my decisions and alter how I engage with the world around me. I've become more conscious of the environments I enter, something I never had to think about in the past. Many homes, for example, aren't designed with the needs of older adults in mind. Stairs, once a simple task, now feel like daunting mountains to climb. Soft couches, which used to be a place of comfort, have become harder to get out of, and small, cramped spaces seem to make me feel unsteady, as though I might lose my balance at any moment. It's no longer just about convenience or comfort, it's about safety and dignity. I don't want to be a burden to others, constantly asking for help or special accommodations. And so, more often than not, I opt for the path of least resistance, staying home. It's easier to avoid the discomfort of navigating places that aren't well suited for my body's changing needs. Staying home doesn't mean I've given up on relationships or experiences. It just means I approach them differently now. Accepting these limitations hasn't been easy. There's a part of me that still feels young, that still wants to move freely and do all the things I used to do without a second thought. But over time, I've learned to be gentle with myself. I've learned to acknowledge that my body is doing its best, even if it's not as strong, agile, or resilient as it once was. I don't expect it to be perfect, but I try to show kindness and understanding. By accepting these changes, I've discovered new ways to live fully within the bounds of what I can do. I've learned to find joy in the smaller moments, the ones that don't require a lot of physical effort but carry immense emotional value. A phone call from a friend, a quiet moment spent in my garden, or a handwritten note I send to someone I care about. These things may seem small to some, but to me, they hold immeasurable meaning. They remind me that connection isn't about where we are or what we can physically do. It's about the love and care we share, no matter the distance or limitations. If you are still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, please comment number 3 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Thank you for your valuable time. 6. Prioritizing relationships that matter. As I reflect on my life, particularly as I've grown older, one of the most invaluable lessons I've come to understand is that not all relationships hold the same weight. When I was younger, I felt this innate sense of duty to nurture every connection, to keep every relationship alive, and to ensure that no bond, no matter how distant, would fade. I believed that maintaining a vast network of acquaintances was important, and I often stretched myself thin, trying to stay connected to everyone. But as time has passed, I've come to realize that not all relationships are created equal, and that's perfectly okay. Some connections bring me joy, lift me, and give me energy. These relationships feel vibrant, reciprocal, and fulfilling. On the other hand, some seem to drain my energy, leaving me feeling empty and unappreciated. These relationships, while they may have once been significant, no longer serve me in the same way. Now, at 70, I've made peace with the understanding that it's not only acceptable but necessary to let some of these connections fade. I've learned to cherish truly meaningful relationships and to invest deeply in them. Letting go of certain people doesn't mean harboring grudges or resentment. Rather, it's about recognizing the value of what I have and the importance of nurturing those bonds that truly matter. I've come to understand that the act of choosing where to direct my energy is empowering and freeing. There's a unique beauty in nurturing relationships that feel mutually supportive. These are the connections where care flows both ways, where love and understanding are shared equally. These are the people who brighten my days and whose presence I can rely on. A simple phone call, a shared laugh, or even a quiet moment spent together can feel like a warm embrace, a reminder that I am valued and loved. Over the years, I've also realized that it's not about the sheer number of relationships I maintain, but about the quality of those bonds. I no longer need a wide circle of acquaintances to feel fulfilled. What I need is a small, trusted group of people who truly know me. Not just the good parts, but the parts I've struggled with too. These are the people who love me, not despite my flaws, but because of them. They are the ones who have stood by me through the challenges, who understand the depths of my story, and who respect my journey. Focusing on these select relationships has brought me a sense of peace I never knew I needed. I no longer feel the pressure to attend every social gathering or maintain tenuous ties with distant connections. Instead, I find joy in the simpler, more meaningful moments. These are the moments spent with family, the quiet afternoons with close friends, or even just the comfort of being fully present with the people who matter most to me. Letting go of some relationships can be a bittersweet experience. It's hard to say goodbye to people who once played a significant role in my life, but I've learned that it's also incredibly liberating. Letting go creates the space I need to nurture the relationships that truly enrich my soul and bring light to my life. At this stage of my life, I've come to appreciate that depth matters far more than breadth. I've learned to permit myself to prioritize what feels right for me, trusting that focusing on what truly matters will bring me the happiness and fulfillment I seek. 7. Technology offers new ways to connect. In a world that is constantly changing, I have found a surprising amount of comfort in embracing the modern tools that enable me to stay connected with loved ones, even when being physically present isn't possible. Technology, which once seemed intimidating and overwhelming to me, has become a lifeline in ways I could never have anticipated. At first, I resisted it, believing that no virtual interaction could ever replace the warmth of a face-to-face visit. It felt impersonal and distant. However, as time has passed, I've come to see technology as a bridge, a means to stay close to those I care about even when I can't be there in person. One of the most significant ways this has manifested is through video calls. Initially, I had my doubts about how effective they could be. But now, They have become a window into the lives of my children and grandchildren. Seeing their faces light up when they see me on the screen, hearing their voices as they share their stories, accomplishments, and everyday moments. It's a gift that brings me joy every time. While it may not be the same as being physical with them, it's enough to remind me that love and connection can transcend any amount of distance. I've even come to laugh at myself when I stumble through the technology, fumbling with buttons or unintentionally turning the camera in the wrong direction. My grandkids find this amusing, and their laughter is a reward that makes all my efforts feel worthwhile. Text messages and social media platforms have also become part of my daily routine, and my initial skepticism about their value has faded. I used to think these digital tools were impersonal, merely a quick, shallow way to communicate. But I've learned that they are just another means to say, "I'm thinking of you." A brief text message from a friend, or a photo shared by family, can brighten my day in ways I never expected. Even though we may not be together physically, these little digital gestures remind me that I'm still an important part of their lives. It's like a little reminder that love and friendship don't need to be physically present to be felt. However, despite the many digital tools at my disposal, perhaps my favorite form of connection remains the handwritten letter. In a world where screens dominate almost every aspect of our lives, there's something timeless and deeply personal about the act of writing a letter by hand. I've started sending letters again, not out of necessity, but because I've come to realize how special they feel. Writing a letter forces me to slow down and reflect on my thoughts and feelings in a way that feels both intentional and authentic. It's a meaningful act that carries the weight of genuine emotion. And when I receive a letter in return, it's something I treasure deeply, a tangible proof of the bond we share and a reminder that our connection is real, enduring, and cherished. It's become clear to me that technology and tradition don't have to be in conflict. They can complement each other beautifully, offering different ways to connect depending on the situation or the moment. I've learned to appreciate both, finding joy in the convenience and immediacy of a video call, while also holding onto the magic and personal touch of a handwritten note. These tools, whether modern or traditional, have allowed me to maintain relationships in a way that feels authentic, meaningful, and true to who I am, even as my ability to visit in person has lessened over time. Ultimately, what matters most isn't the specific method of connection. What truly matters is the love and care we share. And I've learned that these feelings can be expressed and experienced in countless beautiful ways, no matter the distance or medium. Technology and tradition both offer unique ways to nurture those connections, and for that, I am deeply grateful. If you are still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, please comment number 4 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Thank you for your valuable time. 8. Reflecting on loss at 70. As I reach the milestone of 70, loss has become an ever-present companion, a quiet shadow that follows me through the ebb and flow of life. It's not just the passing of loved ones, though their absence is felt most deeply and acutely. It's the loss of so many other things that once seemed so permanent. The routines that define my days, the abilities I once took for granted, and even pieces of myself that have faded or transformed in ways I never imagined. With each goodbye, and each departure comes a stark reminder of how fragile and fleeting life truly is. That realization, subtle yet profound, has shaped my perspective and the way I approach my remaining days, relationships, and interactions with the world around me. When I think about visiting others now, the weight of these losses sometimes feels almost tangible. Stepping into a home where someone I loved once lived, or gathering with friends who remind me of those who are no longer here, can stir a sadness that lingers, a quiet ache that stays with me long after the visit has ended. It's not that I don't still cherish the connections I have, because I do deeply, but there's a heaviness in knowing that some of those people I would give anything to see again are no longer within reach, their absence leaving an emptiness that no amount of conversation or activity can fill. The silence left by their departure is something that nothing can truly erase. Over the years, I've learned to honor these losses in ways that are deeply personal and quiet. I light candles for those who have passed, watching the flickering flames dance as a reminder that, in some way, their light still lives on within me. I find myself looking through old photo albums, allowing the memories to wash over me. Sweet memories, yet tinged with the bittersweet reality that those moments are gone. Sometimes, I speak their names aloud, almost as though I could bring them back into the room by uttering the words. These small but meaningful rituals, these moments of remembrance, help me carry their memory forward, even as I continue to navigate the ever-changing landscape of my relationships. Loss has also given me a deeper understanding of the importance of being present with those who remain. Every conversation, every shared laugh or hug, feels infinitely more precious now because I have come to understand how quickly everything can change. I've become more intentional in expressing my love and gratitude, making sure that the people I care for know just how much they mean to me. I no longer take these relationships for granted, recognizing that the bonds we share are some of the most beautiful and enduring aspects of my life. Strangely, loss has deepened my capacity for connection, even as it has inevitably narrowed the circle of those with whom I connect. When I visit familiar places or gather with those who remain, I can't help but be reminded of who is missing, but I also find myself more acutely aware of who is still with me. By focusing on the relationships that bring me joy, comfort, and a sense of purpose, I've found a way to navigate the grief that inevitably comes with living a long life. Loss has shaped me, and it has shaped the way I interact with the world, but it has not broken me. Instead, it has helped me see the beauty in the time, the love, and the relationships that I still have, those gifts that remain, even as others slip away. 9. Protecting my peace. As I've moved through the various stages of life, I've gained a deeper understanding of the true value of peace. It's not just the fleeting moments of quiet we experience when the world slows down, but rather a deeper, more enduring state of being that nourishes the mind, body, and soul. Peace, for me, has become something that I actively protect, something I prioritize fiercely in this chapter of my life. At this stage, I've realized that guarding my peace isn't about retreating from the world or shutting people out. Rather, it's about consciously setting boundaries that allow me to live with intention, balance, and harmony. These boundaries enable me to navigate my days without feeling overwhelmed or depleted, and they allow me to focus on what truly matters. Visiting others has always brought joy, but I've come to realize that it can also be disruptive to my sense of inner peace. The preparations required, getting ready, packing, traveling, and the energy necessary to engage with others can feel like an exhausting drain on my reserves. Even the anticipation of a visit, whether it's wondering if I'll feel comfortable or if the day will unfold smoothly, can stir up a sense of unease that lingers beneath the surface. I've learned to recognize these feelings as valid, and I've taught myself not to dismiss them or push through them out of a sense of duty or obligation. Honoring these feelings has allowed me to make more thoughtful decisions about where I invest my time and energy. For me, peace is found in the simplicity of everyday moments. It's in the stillness of the early morning hours before the world fully awakens, when the silence feels profound and comforting. It's in the soothing sound of birds singing outside my window, the gentle turning of pages in a book, or the comforting embrace of a warm blanket as the evening air grows cooler. These small, quiet moments provide me with a grounding sense of calm that I often find difficult to experience in the hustle and bustle of social interactions. In these moments of solitude, I've discovered a peace that recharges my spirit and clears my mind. Protecting that peace has allowed me the space to reflect, to grow, and to cultivate a deeper understanding of myself. Through this process, I've discovered new passions and interests, activities that bring purpose and joy into my life. I've taken up painting, which offers an outlet for my creativity, and gardening, which connects me to the natural world and provides a satisfying sense of accomplishment. These activities not only give my days a sense of structure, but also allow me to nurture my soul. More importantly, I've learned to listen to my own needs, not the expectations of others. This self-awareness has been transformative, helping me to grow into a person who is more attuned to what truly matters, rather than being swayed by external pressures. I've learned that contentment doesn't depend on others' approval or constant activity. It comes from within, from the peace I cultivate for myself. This doesn't mean that I don't value relationships. On the contrary, I deeply cherish the connections I have with people who enrich my life and bring me peace. I've learned to be selective about the invitations I accept, saying no to those that feel more like obligations or commitments that will drain me rather than nourish me. Choosing where to invest my time and energy has allowed me to build more meaningful, fulfilling relationships with the people who truly matter. This process of discernment has not always been easy, but it has brought me a profound sense of happiness and fulfillment. In learning to protect my peace, I've found a graceful way to navigate the challenges and complexities that come with aging. I no longer feel the need to chase after every opportunity or be present for every event. Instead, I focus on crafting a life that feels authentic and fulfilling, where I can be true to myself and my values. I've come to realize that true peace is not something that can be stumbled upon or discovered. It's something that must be actively created and nurtured. By creating the conditions for peace in my life, I found a sense of contentment that transcends external circumstances, and that brings a deep and lasting joy. If you are still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, please comment number 5 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Thank you for your valuable time. 10. Finding joy in simpler connections. As I've journeyed through the years, I've developed a deeper appreciation for the beauty of simplicity, particularly when it comes to the connections I share with others. The high-energy social gatherings and lavish events that once excited me now feel like chaotic whirlwinds that I've outgrown. These once thrilling experiences have gradually lost their appeal, and I no longer feel drawn to the frenzy of bustling parties or large group gatherings. Instead, I've discovered a kind of joy in quieter, more intimate forms of connection. Those precious moments that don't require extravagant displays or excessive noise, only the simplicity of just being present with one another. There's a kind of subtle, almost magical quality in the small gestures that shape my everyday interactions. A neighbor waving hello as they pass by, a fleeting yet warm smile exchanged with a cashier at the grocery store, or the comfort of calling a dear friend just to check in. These might seem like insignificant moments to an outsider, but for me, they are deeply meaningful. They serve as gentle reminders that true connection isn't about grand gestures or constantly being surrounded by activity. It's about the quiet, authentic exchange of care, kindness, and understanding. These are the moments that nourish my spirit. In addition to these small but significant exchanges with others, I've come to appreciate the beauty of solitary connection. Those quiet, introspective moments where I can feel close to others, even when I'm physically alone. Writing a heartfelt letter to my grandchildren, imagining their joy as they read my words, fills me with a peaceful, quiet happiness. Leafing through old photo albums and revisiting the faces and memories of the people who've shaped my life reminds me of the vast love that has surrounded me over the years. Even sitting alone with my thoughts, reflecting on those who are dear to me, feels like a deep and meaningful connection. These simpler, quieter moments have taught me to be present and savor each one. I've let go of the need to keep up with every trend, attend every gathering, or constantly be on the move to feel close to others. Instead, I focus on the depth of the moments I share with people. A heartfelt conversation over the phone, where laughter flows freely, stories are exchanged, and the connection feels real and unhurried, feels more fulfilling and enriching than any large social gathering ever could. It's these moments, often simple and unpretentious, that linger in my heart long after the conversation has ended. They're the ones that make me feel truly seen and heard, in a way that no big event or busy schedule ever could. I've also discovered that connection doesn't always have to be with other people. It can extend to the world around me. The natural world that so often gets overlooked in the rush of daily life. Sitting in my garden, feeling the warmth of the sun on my face, the earth beneath my hands, and the gentle breeze stirring the leaves, I am reminded that I am part of something much larger than myself. The rhythm of nature, its seasons of growth, renewal, and rest, mirrors the ebb and flow of the connections in my own life. These natural cycles teach me to appreciate each season for what it brings, helping me realize that life, too, has its own pace and timing. In finding joy in these simpler connections, I've been able to release the pressures and expectations that once weighed me down. I no longer feel the need to prove my worth by staying constantly busy or filling my calendar with social obligations. Instead, I've come to embrace a life that feels truer to who I am now, one that's built on quiet moments of love, gratitude, and authentic presence. I've come to understand that the richness of life doesn't lie in how much you do or how many people you encounter, but in the sincerity of the moments you share with others, and the warmth that those moments bring to your heart. At the age of 70, I've realized that true connection isn't measured by how much you accomplish or how many people you meet. It's about the quality of the interactions, the genuine care exchanged, and the lasting warmth those interactions bring. These small, meaningful moments have become the cornerstone of my life, my foundation, and they are more than enough to bring a deep sense of fulfillment. In them, I've found a joy that's steady and profound, one that doesn't require anything more. Embracing a new way of being. As I sit and reflect on why I've chosen to step back from my previous routine of constant socializing and visiting around, I realize that it's not about withdrawing from the world or distancing myself from the people I care about. Rather, it's about honoring this stage of life and the wisdom it brings with it. At 70, I've come to understand what truly matters. The depth and authenticity of my relationships, the beauty in slowing down, and the peace that comes from living in a way that feels true to who I am. I no longer feel the need to fill my days with non-stop activity or adhere to the endless cycle of social obligations that once seemed necessary. Instead, I choose to focus on the moments that bring me the most joy and nourishment for my soul. Whether it's a heartfelt phone call with a loved one, a handwritten letter to someone I hold dear, or simply enjoying the quiet comfort of my own home, these are the things that truly bring me peace and fulfillment now. At this stage of life, I've come to embrace the simplicity of living in the present moment, cherishing the small, meaningful connections I have, and finding contentment in the quiet joys that life offers. For those who may wonder why I no longer go visiting around, I offer this explanation. It's not because I'm withdrawing from life. Rather, I am living it in a way that feels most authentic to me at this time. In this new way of being, I found a profound sense of peace, a life filled not with noise and busyness, but with purpose, love, and gratitude. And for me, this way of living has proven to be more than enough. Thank you so much for watching. I hope today's message has touched your heart and provided some clarity, encouragement, or guidance. As we navigate through life's challenges, it's important to remember the powerful lessons we learn along the way. So, I'd love to know, what have you learned from today's video? Take a moment to reflect and share one thing that resonated with you the most and how you plan to bring that lesson into your daily life. Your thoughts and experiences could be the inspiration someone else needs, so feel free to leave a comment below. If you found value in this video, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Your support means the world, and it helps us continue to spread messages of faith, hope, and encouragement to those who need it most. Remember, you're never alone. God's love and guidance are always with you, even in the most difficult moments. Stay encouraged, and I'll see you in the next video.